Well, it has been a hot minute since I done one of these. Anyone who's been subscribed to my channel for a while probably knows that I did reviews back in the day. I deleted all of those, you probably noticed. That's because of the fucking cringe fests that they are. But the last film I talked about on the channel was Jigsaw back in 2017, and anybody who knows me knows that I am a huge fan of the Saw films and I've always got time for them, and having watched the new one, I was feeling inspired, so this will probably be a long rambling one. But anyways, a lot has happened since 2017 when I saw Jigsaw, and I really enjoyed that film. I stand by it, think it's underrated, didn't deserve the hate it received. 2019 we all find out that Chris Rock, of all people, is a fan of the Saw films, and he's going to make one. Who'd have thought, in the year of our Lord, 2021, Chris Rock would be the star of the Saw franchise. And Sam the motherfucker Jackson too. Yeah, as soon as I find out that this movie's getting made, that goes right to the top of my fucking watch list, and then this whole fucking pandemic happens and pushes it all back a year, so I'm just stuck watching that fucking trailer on repeat about a million times. Worth it. 100% worth the wait though, because I loved the movie. Seen a lot of shit talked about it, don't agree with most of it. Journey with getting to watch this movie was a bit of an annoying one. The cinemas reopened when we went down to tier 2, had my tickets booked, had the day off work, everything was planned out perfectly, and what happens the day before? Oh, Glasgow's going back into tier 3 because a bunch of fucking morons refusing to wear masks, refusing to stay at home. But that's a whole different story on its own. Anyway, seen it was getting released on VOD in America, so I figured it's going to happen over here soon enough too. And sure enough, on the Monday just there, I'll log into my Amazon Prime. First thing that comes up, home preview, Spiral from the Book of Saw. I check my phone, I've got an hour and a half before my shift starts. I was this close to phoning in sick to work because I always have time for Saw. Saw takes priority over just about anything. I was almost late to work because of this movie, and it was 100% worth it. Right, first of all, the fucking traps in this movie are excellent. You know, out of all the Saw films, I think in many ways Spiral has probably the fairest traps. If you think about it, right, all of them are survivable. You've got the guy in the fucking train tunnel at the start, has his tongue in the vice, right? All you have to do is rip your tongue out, don't get hit by the train. Now, granted, blood loss would be an issue there, but I think if you got out in time, that's a feasibly survivable trap. Of course, being the gorehound that I am, I was more than happy to see him get splattered all over the front of that train. I think it's pretty cool that this movie obviously has a bigger budget than the other ones, so there's more like exterior stuff, and the traps in general just feel like kind of bigger, or at least some of them do. I mean, I quite like the fact that they made use of fucking public transport for that one. It's the other one with the fingers getting ripped off. I don't know what you call that. It's that Chinese magic trick thing, but except the guy obviously has to rip his own fingers off. That was pretty cool, but also feasibly you could survive it if you got to help in time. And what was the other one? The wax trap. Fuck the wax trap, by the way, right? You have to sever your spinal column for that. Nah. Being paralysed is like, nah, that's nah, not doing that. I'd fucking rather die in that trap than paralyse myself from the fucking neck down. Nope. And after that, it was the glass trap. Glass Trap itself was cool as fuck. My issue with that one was, right, obviously you all know the scene from the teaser trailer where Chris Rock finds the fucking the hacksaw, and then but there's just a bobby pin that he picks the lock on the. It's like, I get that it's not his game, so he was supposed to get out of it, but the just the whole atmosphere and the tension of that scene's kinda ruined because it's just so easy. And even the trap itself is fairly easy to escape, but at least there's kind of a grey area in the sense that the guy who's getting shredded by the glass, he fucking deserves it, right? He's a scumbag cop, and you can at least appreciate the hesitation that the Chris Rock's character would have in that scenario. So that worked for me. And then there was the whole trap with Big Sam Jackson. So a couple of weeks ago, I was scrolling through Twitter and fucking some scumbag posted a screenshot of the ending of the movie, so I knew what the ending was. The trap didn't quite unfold in the way that I was expecting it to. So there was that, and the ending was that was pretty wild. Yeah, that's the thing, right? I see a lot of people complaining about how predictable the reveal was. I can't really have much of an opinion on it because I got it spoiled for me in advance. But I had my suspicions from the trailers, and I thought, yeah, fair enough, that was pretty cool, and I liked the motivation. And I think in many ways, William is like arguably the best disciple of Jigsaw. I mean, I suppose he's not a direct disciple of Jigsaw, he more just took the blueprints and the iconography and rebranded it into his own thing, but I feel like he, in a way, understands Jigsaw's message the best because, like I said, all of his games were winnable. And let's talk about Chris Rock for a wee bit. I think your appreciation of his performance in this movie probably depends on whether or not you're a fan of his style of comedy. I am. I think he's really funny, and I think the first half of this movie is just a great buddy cop film. I think him and Max Minghella, they've got the great chemistry. I think they bounce off one another really well. I saw a couple of people complaining about the whole Forrest Gump monologue at the start, but I thought that shit was fucking hilarious, man. That was a great fucking introduction. And then the whole heist thing with man, honestly, that was brilliant. I loved Chris Rock's performance in this movie, especially when you get to the more serious stuff and the traps later on. I think just with all the really emotional, intense moments, man, he really sells it. But overall, I thought this movie was really refreshing for the franchise in that, because it's played as more of that buddy cop vibe, but in a way, it probably works better as a sequel to Lethal Weapon 4 than it does Saw, because I can totally believe that his character from Lethal Weapon 4 grew up to become some fucking undercover cop. Operation went wrong, so he changed his name to, was it Zeke? And then you pick up with this movie, and Lethal Weapon and Saw actually exist in the same universe. My boy Darren Lynn Bousman came back to direct this movie. I'm so glad he did. It was quite cool to see his whole aesthetic, but it was done in such a way that, obviously, because it has a bigger budget, just the visuals and the color palette of this movie look a bit, I suppose, cleaner is the right word. But I think in the same way that Jigsaw brought that sort of refreshing color palette and everything to the franchise, I think Spiral does the same thing. It works totally on its own terms. It was the movie certainly wasn't what I was anticipating it would be, because I don't know, from the vibe I got from the trailer was that it was going to tie in a bit more directly to the previous films, but it doesn't really do that. There's just a few sort of, you know, pictures and callbacks here and there, but that whole sequence where they're in the police station and they have their whole case files set up, and there's pictures of my boy Tobin Bell and Billy the Puppet and everything, just those wee sort of callbacks to the old films. I thought that stuff was really cool. I know a lot of people have been saying, oh, the Saw films need to move away from the police procedural stuff. I enjoy the police procedural stuff. I think this movie sort of captures the whole vibe really well, and because it's set in the summer as well, it is quite a refreshing vibe for one of these movies to go with, like a summer blockbuster aesthetic rather than that sort of grimy, disgusting, you know handheld horror vibe that the old movies had. But it still has that same sort of editing style that Darren Lynn Bousman brought to his original three films. I think it's really cool that he came back. I'd totally love for him to do more. People are being really harsh on this movie. I don't get it. Nah, this movie was a hell of a lot of fun, and I want to see more. I want to see more Chris Rock Saw movies. Man, I would love it if they kind of tied it in to the old movies a bit more. But they can do that in the next one. But no, what they really ought to do in the next one is bring back my boy Logan. Bring back Logan, and also I want to find out what happened to Hoffman. I know you could argue the fact that they don't bring him up in any of the recent films. It's like, well, because he's dead. But well, fucking tell us that he's dead. You know, give us something. Like, did they find the bathroom ever? I mean, there are obviously there's the scene where Chris Rock finds the hacksaw, which is a callback to the first one, so that kind of suggests that at some point they found the bathroom, but they don't really draw any attention to it. Like the Saw films have simultaneously a reputation of trying to sort of answer all the questions, but then in doing so they just ask like 100 more. Yeah, also what I want from these movies is the whole buddy cop vibe. Give me fucking Bad Boys meets Saw. I want more Chris Rock monologues about fucking pop culture and everything, because that shit's fucking hilarious. And yes, I would like to give you my Saw rankings. Thank you so much for asking. At the bottom of it, Saw 3D, because, well, like, see, the annoying thing is, right, there's so many good things in Saw 3D, but it does feel like fucking three different movies crammed into one, and it does feel kind of rushed. I mean, certainly in comparison to the way that the previous movies were structured, and just how sort of, like, as fast paced as they were, everything kind of just unfolded so much more naturally. And you could tell that Saw 3D just wasn't the original ending. It felt like there were still two or three movies to come after it. Uh, but and also the 3D, just like, what was the point? I'd say eighth place would be Saw 5. I like Saw 5. That one's improved for me a lot. It was good that my boy Agent Stram got upgraded to a protagonist. I wish he stuck around a bit longer because we love Scott Patterson in this house. He's a great fucking actor. But that wall closing in trap, still cool as fuck. Love it. And that whole scene between Hoffman and Jigsaw, where he's on the chair with the shotgun, and Jigsaw's screaming about how everybody deserves a chance. I think people do underrate that movie quite a bit. In seventh place, yeah, I'd probably put Spiral in seventh place. But that's not because I didn't like it, because I really enjoyed the movie. But the reason it's so low on the list is because I think that should tell you how much I love all the other ones. Like I was saying, Spiral brings that sort of refreshing kind of buddy cop vibe. The traps in this one were cool as fuck, and William, I think, is a great villain. I think he could be potentially the best disciple of Jigsaw, because I think he, to an extent, understands like Jigsaw's message the best. In sixth place, I'd probably put Saw 2. And I know that's probably blasphemy, but this is my fucking list, so fuck you. Saw 2 is great because, Darren Lynn Bousman introduced so much of the iconography that we love. That whole crack house setting is just, like, fucking disgusting, but perfect for the vibe that it's going for. And yeah, some of the traps are good in that one, and we love Donnie Wahlberg just going off. Yeah, Eric Matthews was a dickhead, but he was also cool as fuck. Plus, Tobin Bell, fucking Jigsaw gets some great dialogue in that movie. In fifth place, I'd probably put Jigsaw. I know a lot of you are probably already screaming at me for putting Jigsaw above fucking Saw 2, but like I said before, I love that movie. It's very underrated. I think that movie is a bit better. Just in terms of the structure, just in terms of the setups and the payoffs, I think it does it in a much better way, and I love Logan, and that whole reveal with the barn game actually being the real Jigsaw's original game. That caught me off guard because when he pulls the hood down and it's Tobin Bell, I was like, no, what? Hold on, did I miss something? Because I'd literally just watched the other 7 movies like the day before seeing that, and I was like, well, hold on, no, what? But then obviously the other twist happens, and they explain the whole timeline difference, and it's like, ah, okay, now it makes sense, yeah. Yeah, Jigsaw is a great movie, and you know what? If you've not watched it since 2017, give it another go. You might appreciate it a bit more now. And in fourth place, we're on to now. Yeah, I would probably put Saw 4. Saw 4 is great because man, that movie is so fucking intense. Like, like I think that movie kind of annoyed me for a while because, like I was saying about Saw 3D, it felt like 3 different movies crammed into one. But I've grown to appreciate Saw 4 more and more. But plus, Saw 4 has the best trap in the entire franchise, the Mausoleum trap with Art and Trevor, who, like, okay, you can argue all you want about how we don't have a fucking clue who Trevor is. It's true. I've always wondered that, and I've never been able to find anything. But man, the concept of that trap, the whole see no evil, speak no evil thing is just perfect, and it gets so like mean spirited and brutal so quickly, and I fucking love it. Plus the Jigsaw's autopsy scene, and when Hoffman finds the tape, and it's like, you think it's over just because I am dead, man. Chills every fucking time. And then next, I would probably put Saw 3. Saw 3 is pretty masterful. My boy Jeff was done dirty at the end there. I've always sort of wondered why they never continued Jeff's story. I mean, I get that the whole twist of Saw 4 is that it's happening simultaneously, and then Stram kills Jeff. But was that just because the actor didn't want to come back? I'm guessing that's why, and they had to find a way to write him out of it. Would have been pretty cool to see Jeff go through another game of his own to find his daughter, but shit happens. I think Saw 3 has one of the strongest sort of emotional cores of any of them, and that is a hell of an ending, like fucking triple twist ending, and the fact that it's Amanda's game, and so much of the dialogue in that is fantastic because of how cryptic it is and just all the double meanings, the traps that Jeff goes through. I think just the symbolism of them, and the fact that he has genuine like motivation and reasons to not save the people involved. I think the just the moral ambiguity of it I really enjoyed. So yeah, I think Saw 3 is fantastic. I could do the generic thing, and put Saw the original at number 1. But see, the thing is, Saw 1 and Saw 6 are pretty much interchangeable for me. Saw is fantastic for obvious reasons because it started this whole journey, and we love the fucking ending, and Carrie Elways and Lee Winnell, they're fucking great. Always happy to see Danny Glover. But then there's Saw 6, which in many ways to me is the best execution of the premise. The character William, the insurance guy who has to go through the game. I think in many ways he's one of the best characters because from start to finish, he's one of the few protagonists who I feel like genuinely learns his lesson. You know, like by the time you get to the end of that movie, you can tell that his whole outlook on life and his opinion of the way that he's handled his whole health insurance scheme is like totally different by the end of the movie. Jigsaw likes to insert a lot of irony into his traps, and I think that irony is at its best in Saw 6. Just, when you have to apply your own rules to your own friends and your own employees and colleagues. Yeah, it's not so clear, is it? There are so many fantastic scenes in that movie. Tobin Bell's whole speech about the healthcare system in America and just how fucked everything is god tier. What a guy. And then there's the whole scene where Hoffman gets discovered by the FBI. Right now, you're feeling helpless. Man, fucking intense as hell, and I'm still waiting on justice for Agent Perez. Do you know what they need to do, right? If they're gonna keep on doing these sort of spin-off movies like Spiral, give me a fucking Stram and Perez movie, because they were fucking great. Stram came in Saw 4. He got shit done. I loved the camaraderie between Stram and Perez. I would totally watch like a fucking trilogy of movies about them because they're fucking great. Plus, you know what? It's still feasible because Scott Patterson and Athena Kirkanis haven't even aged that much. Maybe a wee bit of makeup here and there. They could look exactly like they did in 2007. Fucking make it happen. This is going to be a long, rambling ass video, but if you have made it all the way this far, I am very fucking proud of you. And look, the only reason I'm doing this is because, anybody who knows me, like I said, they know I fucking love Saw, and I've always got time for it, and that was worth coming out of retirement for. Fucking retirement, I'm talking about as if I'm a fucking person. I literally just stopped making reviews 3 years ago because I was lazy and couldn't be arsed. But what you gonna do? Anyway, Spiral from the Book of Saw. Go and see it. It's fucking on Amazon Prime right now. Rent it. Oh, fucking hell, man. Anyway, I should probably call it a night because it's 2 o'clock in the fucking morning and I'm here rambling on about some fucking horror movies. I hope you're all staying safe. I hope you're all wearing your masks. I hope you're all out getting vaccinated. Get your 5G injections as soon as possible. Stick it to those fucking anti-vaxxer pricks. And if you feel like it's safe to do so, go and see the new Saw movie. And just one final note, I'm still seeing reviews of these Saw movies, especially on the new ones, saying, oh, it's just some meaningless fucking torture porn. If you're one of those people that thinks Saw is torture porn, and I can guarantee you that 99% of the people that say that have no idea what torture porn is. Did any of you see the horror movie Iceberg that showed up recently? Just fucking Google it, you'll know the one. Go to the bottom of that list. That is where you will find real torture porn. So keep your Saw is torture porn bullshit arguments to your fucking self. And in the meantime, all you level-headed horror fans who actually appreciate these movies, I am proud of you. I'm gonna go to my bed because I have rambled on about this way too long. It is too early in the morning. Honestly, there's probably more important shit that I need to do that I'm just forgetting about. All the best, guys. See you later.